What's up, people? Yeah, that was a little bit of my one and only love. I was actually just trying to play some different things over it, really trying to challenge myself to know where I'm at in the harmonies and stick this in there and stick that in there. And, you know, it was rubato, so I really wasn't bound to any time, but I just wanted to try to like do some things. There's some things that I do when I practice, but the reason I'm making this video is to talk about two things: reed strength and tip openings. I think it's really simple to answer that question. First, we got to look at history and the, evolution to where we are now. So when I say look at history, this is what I'm talking about. Back in the day, Coleman Hawkins, Lester Young, even going far as to Coltrane, they played on standard size tip openings, that a lot of people kind of scoffle at today. Back then, Paul Gonsalves, I'm sure Paul Gonsalves, Coleman Hawkins, they were playing on like size 4 mouthpieces. They made mouthpieces in 3s, 4s, 5s. But the thing about Coltrane is he did a lot of instrumentation. He did a lot of alterations with his mouthpiece. There's stories about him putting things in his mouthpiece, maybe having someone work on them. So we really don't know. But historically, they say that it was a written 6, size. How was those people able to get those big beefy sounds out of such small tip open? Cannonball Adderley, number 5 Meyer mouthpiece. You also have to take into consideration we only documentation we got is recordings. So the only thing we can go by is how it sounds on record. There are some live recordings, but then again, that's still mic'd and on record. There's video, again, mic'd and record. So we don't have the privilege to have access to their natural sound like Bird or anybody like that. How would they sound if they were standing right in front of you playing on their setup? We don't know, unfortunately. So we fast forward to now everything is amplified. You got monitors all over the place. You got high-tech microphones. So everything is louder. So evolution says that most of us started to gravitate more towards bigger tip openings. If it's not just a bigger tip opening, it's on your horn, I need higher key heights. The higher my key heights are, then more air can come out of the horn. All this stuff could be true, but what I've been told, and this is by the OGs, which is the original gangsters, the older people that played the generation before us, the masters, is the best thing that you can do is play on the biggest tip opening with the hardest reed that you can handle. Everybody is not made up the same. Just because Joe Lovano plays a 10, don't mean that Joe Henderson had to play a 10. You know what I'm saying? And they both got beefy sounds. I think the number one thing you need to try to do is try to be as comfortable as possible. As comfortable as possible where you're not struggling at any point all over this thing, this metal object. High register, low register, subtone. Think about it. You try to go out and buy a 9 or a 10 mouthpiece, right? And you're not used to that, you won't be able to do certain things comfortably. Can you work it up to be able to do it? Possibly, but would you be better off if you maybe moved down a couple of numbers and raised your reed strength up a couple of numbers and then have a more solid overall core? That's possible too. But the only thing I'm saying is don't try to think that, I need to go out and just get a largest tip opener that I can get. Nah, You can get by with, some people play on a 6 mouthpiece with like a 3.5 reed and have a powerful sound. Some people can play an 8 mouthpiece or 8 star or 9 and have a 2.5 reed and have a similar sound. It really depends on you and this right here and how much you're working those long tones and those overtones to produce the sound that you hear in your head. You need to know what type of sound you're going for. That's the thing you need to start with. Everybody's gonna have their own original DNA type of sound that's a combination of all the music that you listen to and all the players that you love and idolize and transcribe. All of that sound, your personality and all that stuff is gonna be up here. Once you figure out, okay, this is the type of sound I want, then you make the hunt. But don't just go out and say, I want the biggest mouthpiece that I can find and start there. If you're comfortable on the 7 star, work at that and 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 work at that until you like 60. All right, it's your boy Stantawn Kendrick. I'm out. I'm got more shedding to do, so I will talk to y'all later. Peace. Mm-hmm.